And through childhood I spent a lot of time in and out of hospital. And from 99 to 2008 I really fought for my life. Septic many times, lots and lots of surgeries. And got to a point where intravenous gentamicin wasn't working. I'd been living on oral cocktails of antibiotics and oral chemo and things like that. And I was very scared to stop taking the antibiotics and oral chemo and stuff. But I did, and when I did, and it was very, very scary for me, that's when I took control of my health. And I've been studying nutrition for many, many years, since I was about 14 or 15. I was into bodybuilding and things like that. But since '99 I've been studying natural medicine and herbal stuff and all different kind of alternative therapies around the world. And cannabis is an incredible plant. I always call it the king of herbs. It's got so many medicinal purposes, and we're learning more and more about it all the time. Sister, could we operate there? Okay, so the benefits of cancer. One thing that it really does is protect our stem cells. Cannabis does. It's very good at stops new blood vessels of the cancer from forming, and it's also stops the development of new cancer cells. Very good for taking inflammation out of the cell. Of course, it's eaten raw is fantastic for the pH level. It's I guess the metastasis side of it is a big part of cannabis, and that's where CBD comes in. So those of you who are not sure about what CBD is, THC and CBD, I guess, are the two biggest cannabinoids that we're using at the moment. And they both have huge purposes, and they do different things, but together they work very, very well. I guess the biggest thing with everybody out there now, if we do have cancer, and they are talking about using chemo in combination with cannabis for several reasons, for nausea and pain and sleep. And of course, we all know cannabis gives you the munchies, so we'll get hungry again. But combining the cannabis treatment with chemo, I guess, is something that is being tested at the moment. But as a herbalist and nutritionist, combining nutrition and herbs with the cannabis is the biggest positive thing that we can do. And diet is a big factor with that. Could we skip to page 6, please, Sister? At the moment, there's a lot of talk out there about the ketosis diet for cancer, which is high protein, high fat. And I just want to touch on, as a teenager, I was reasonably healthy. I was still having lots of surgery and things like that. But my diet was very acidic, so I wanted to build muscle and things like that. So I was eating a lot of meat, a lot of protein drinks and things like that. And it's similar along the lines of the ketosis diet. And the more animal protein we have, the more milk that we have. Unfortunately, we have enough proof now that these things are feeding cancer. So I'm very sceptical of the ketosis diet when it comes to cancer. It's acidic, and we have enough proof now that casein in the cow's milk and dairy products are feeding the cancer, as well as methionine and tyrosine in the meats is also feeding cancer. There's a lot of talk about don't eat fruit if you've got cancer, because sugar feeds cancer. And I can tell you now, I've seen many cases of people eating fruit and veggie juices and things like that, and taking milk and dairy and meats out of the diet, and they're doing very well on a high fruit, vegetable juice, natural diet, dropping all the animal proteins out. And if you do have a serious disease, it is good to stay on that for as long as you can and make it a lifestyle rather than just a short-term thing. I do believe, and I really want to encourage you to stay, whether you've got what disease you've got, the human body and the human cells and the immune system, it it doesn't work over a week or a month or even 6 months. It takes a long time, but we do see positive effects very shortly. And combining a good nutrition with cannabis and alternative therapies, there's a lot out there, and we're very fortunate now to be where we are. We go back 20 years, there was nothing on the internet. The only way we learned was through books. So I think I've got up here the ketogenic diet versus a plant-based diet. Everything that we have from the earth is very, very similar. The nutrients, the oxygen, the water, the vitamins, the minerals, the phytonutrients. We get all those things from all our plant-based foods. Compared to having a piece of meat. There are some nutrients in there, of course, but there's enough proof out there now. If you do your research, certain things are worse than others, of course, but when we are in a state of serious disease, there's really no comparison about having a ketogenic, anabolic, acidic state diet. And when we are in an acid state, we definitely do have more inflammation in the body. We definitely do have less oxygen. Raising our potassium level helps the increase of oxygen into the cells. And also when we have more potassium than sodium intake, of course, we're a lot healthier. Inflammation and fluid in the cells is a big problem out there at the moment, along with digestion. So the easier things to, I guess, cause good things happening mechanically in the body and digestion are simple things like vegetable juicing, smoothies, and getting those raw enzymes and nutrients into the body as regular as we can, especially if we're seriously ill. And that means like putting somebody on 2 or 3 litres of vegetable juice a day, having a glass every hour while they're awake. Those raw enzymes, vitamins, minerals, things like that are enhancing our immune system. Now, in line with the immune system, I'm not sure if anybody's touched on it today because I come late, but the endocannabinoid system, which was only discovered, I think it was in the late 90s. We have our own endocannabinoid system, which is where our cannabis comes in, where we're getting so many benefits from the cannabis. It's amazing, you know, human beings have been ingesting cannabis one way or another for tens of thousands of years. And it's very sad that we can't go up in the backyard, and hopefully that changes. So my diet now consists of, still have cooked food, but it's mainly fruit, vegetables, raw veggie juice, lots and lots of vitamin C, antioxidants, lots and lots of berries, lots of smoothies made on coconut milk or rice milk, lots of pawpaw, kiwi fruit and pineapple. They contain these 3 digestive enzymes in raw state are very powerful. Pineapple, the pineapple core, make sure you're eating the whole pineapple. Alright. Is that better? Yes? Okay. So that... Okay. Pineapple. Pineapple contains bromelain, which is a fantastic protein enzyme. It's BR. Is it bromelain? Yeah, bromelain. So I think it's. Yeah. So eating the core is crucial, and if it's a little bit hard, I always chop it up, throw it in a blender, or if it's a couple of days over being ripe, it's always a little bit softer. Pawpaw, also very, very, very important. It contains papain. So I always, I'm a big pawpaw kiwi fruit eater. Organic as much as you can. Organic as much as you can. There's so many herbicides and chemicals in so much of the fruit and veggies out there today, unfortunately. And I mean, if you can, grow something small, even if it's only a few herbs or some fruit trees, something. And a lot of citrus as well. There's some fantastic research coming back with high citrus to do with cancer in the immune system. As has always been the case, but the clinical trials now are so much better than they were, say, 50 years ago. Some of the different therapies that are out there, when we're talking about brolame and paw pain, the enzyme therapy is fantastic. It helps break down the protein shell around the cancer cell so that the immune system and the cannabis, it's a bit easier for it to break it down and attack it. And you can have a look at, can we just skip a page ahead please, Sister? There was a fantastic, back one please, a fantastic doctor by the name of Nicholas Gonzalez, and sadly he passed away last year. But Nicholas had been following Dr. Beard's protocols from the 40s. And Nicholas Gonzalez has kept a lot of pancreatic cancer patients alive for extraordinary amounts of time. And of course we know pancreatic cancer is probably one of the most aggressive cancers out there. So Dr. T. Colin Campbell on nutrition, he has many years of research and clinical trials and proof that the milk, the casein, mainly the protein milk that is feeding cancer, and also the animal proteins also. So he's one to have a look at. Dr. John McDougall, he's a regular MD. For anybody out there that is suffering diabetes, he's definitely worth a look. He's fantastic at what he's proved to the world, and is leading the world in diabetes. He does have camps for anybody out there, does have anybody that's seriously, maybe a type 1 that's high risk, someone to have a look at. And he also does have 2 or 3 camps a year for education, and he really is turning people's lives around. Patrick Vickers, he is an advanced Gerson clinic in Mexico, a very dedicated man to helping whoever he can in any sickness at all, and he has a lot of alternative therapies there in Mexico which we can't perform here. One thing I think that is not talked about is the possibility of, I guess, the future of where we're going with cannabis in this country, and I hope not too long down in the future we'll start to see some light. There is a lot of talk out there. Even in the States now, they're still battling to get it into several states. I hope that we see something here shortly changes, because there is so much need for it, and the findings are changing daily. The cannabinoid CBN, which is another cannabinoid that we haven't had much to do with here. But it is our finding that it may be a big step towards fighting infections, some of those serious infections down the road that we're having trouble with now. And anybody out there that is having trouble, that is living on antibiotics for infection, cannabis is a big play and helpful towards boosting the immune system, balancing things in the body, and I guess helping level out things in the body. The THCA, which is a raw component, I'm not sure if anybody has touched on. Has anybody spoke about the different breakups of the cannabinoids much today? They haven't? Oh, you have? Oh, sorry, Deb. Yep, okay, all right. We'll leave that for Dr. Deb. She's fantastic, and she's going to touch on those things for us. Okay. So with diet, has anybody got any questions? Because, you know, we know that cannabis is doing very well. Yes, sir. Vegan diet for someone that struggles to keep weight on.
What extra things you would suggest to focus on? Like supplements or...
Right, okay. Alright, so your digestion's rapid, All right, and you're saying you are a vegan? You are a vegan?
I just go back and forth because of the weight loss problem.
Right, okay, all right, okay. Okay, all right, so when you say you go back and forward, so you sometimes supplement with meat and then you go off again. If you're concerned about protein, there are some great products out there now. Some of the organic sprouted fermented rice protein is very, very good. Won't leave any acid ash in the body like meat does. So if we are fighting disease, as I said before, our acid state is the one we really want to stay away from. So if you are unwell, you're trying to keep weight on, you do need a little bit of natural protein that is easy to digest. It's not going to be harmful to the body in any way. Then I always suggest the sprouted fermented organic rice protein. And I only put, myself now, I only put a teaspoon or a tablespoon in into each smoothie. Pardon? Okay, you can get it from most health food shops now. Yeah, you can. And really the human body, you know, unless we're doing extreme exercise, we don't really need that much protein. We don't really need that much protein. There's a lot of talk out there, you know, we need, some of it's pretty extreme, you know, 1 gram per kilo of body weight, things like that. That's just over the top, excessive for sure. But definitely have a look at the rice protein. It's not going to cause any digestion problems. Rice itself is very healing to the digestive tract, and I found that out myself. I went totally grain-free for a long period of time there, and I had a lot of esophagus and stomach and bowel problems through all my medications over the years. And rice is something that really, really helped me repair. And it really doesn't take long to work. If you are having stomach problems, digestive problems, of course, and you have had chemo or you have had cocktails of antibiotics over long periods of time, a good probiotic, of course, is good. Broad spectrum. I don't worry so much about the count anymore. We've got some people companies out there putting things at 50 million, you know, microbes and all that. It's more about the spectrum, the broad spectrum of microbes, because in the last 100 years we've lost a lot of nutrients out of the soil. I was reading a month ago, they said, you know, it's around 100 different microbes that have lost in our fruit and veggies over the last 100 years, which is pretty incredible. But a soil-based probiotic is fantastic. There is one out there, I think it's 2 in Australia now. Ultimate Biotic is one. It's made by Eden Health Foods. As well as L-glutamine to repair the gut if you do have leaky gut, candida, digestion problems. That is something that you use in combination with that. And if, with candida? With L-glutamine. So to repair the stomach lining, L-glutamine is incredible. I had incredible leaky gut. I had candida out of control. If I walk past, this is how I'll tell you how sick I was. If I walk past and bump my leg somewhere, I had a huge hematoma come up. I had it all over me. My liver was toxic through all the treatments. I was covered in purple rashes, and that's just the liver not functioning properly. I also still have a large liver tumour, but it's non-malignant. So that's why I still live a very healthy, clean, nutritional diet. But getting back to the gut, because a lot of people out there don't really realise what's going on. And there's so many different diseases out there today. You know, inflammation and digestion are 2 biggest ones. But the other one too is stress, and stress plays a big part of our digestion, because if we are stressed, most of us will feel it in our gut. And you know, I think that's why a lot of the Europeans, I guess they can eat just about anything, because half of them have had 2 glasses of wine before they eat. So they're very relaxed, you know. But as well as doing those things, you know, our mental state of mind is something that I guess is not spoken about enough. And if we are sick, we really need to raise our energy and keep our spirits high and believe in ourselves. That's the biggest thing. We tell the TV today there's so much negative out there, the paper there's so much negative. And we really need to believe that we can heal ourselves, we can share with our family and friends, we can make life better for us. And more out there at the moment, I believe, is more about us and them. And when I say that, it's more about the people and the governments. And I truly don't believe we're being looked after at all. We really need to look after ourselves. And we need to, I guess, pass our good habits on to our children and grandchildren. So myself, with our children, we make plenty of veggie juice, make plenty of smoothies. And when they're sick, it's funny. They might go out on the weekend, and we've got teenage children, Gwen and myself, and they'll go out and party and do things, get a flu or a virus. The first thing they'll do Monday morning, make a veggie juice, make a smoothie. I want to feel good again. So our continual habit, I guess, is something for the future to pass on to our children and grandchildren. And also getting in the garden and doing some planting and taking our shoes off, getting into the dirt, churning it up and getting amongst the environment and spreading a good vibration as much as we can. Anybody got any other questions out there to do with... Yes, sir?
About like fermented foods, sauerkraut, kimchi.
Yep, fantastic for you. Absolutely. They're fantastic. With how long the civilized race has been around, they're some of the most important things that I guess that have kept us alive. Without a lot of those things, a lot of fermented foods, and really we don't have that much of it anymore. But those things are important, very, very important. Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay. This is where a lot of people go wrong with diet, is that with the ketosis diet out there especially, around our cells we have a couple of different membranes, protein, lipids, things like that. And in those lipid proteins we can get a collection of hydrogen. And animal fats are high in hydrogen compared to our plant fats. And that's a big difference with taking energy and oxygen in and out of the human cells. We have our potassium high, which is our fruit and vegetables and vegetable juices, of course. But then when we change those fats, those lipids around our cells, then also our pH level changes as well. So good oils are, of course, hemp oil is very good, flaxseed oil is good, and a little bit of coconut oil is okay as well. I'm not a believer in animal fats. If you haven't got cancer or you're not fighting heavy infection, then a little bit of fish is okay occasionally. Or, if you are well and don't want to just eat fruit, vegetables and grains, on a plate, in Australia we all grew up eating meat and 3 veg, and I grew up eating steaks half the size of a plate, If we reduce that down to, a piece of meat on a plate that's 10%, I mean, it's a lot better than 20, 30, 40, 50%. But with fats, my experience is the more animal fat that we have when it comes to beef, lamb and things like that, the more that we're going to have hydrogen in our body, and of course we're going to have more cholesterol. Unfortunately, that's just a fact. And there's a lot of doctors out there today on the internet. One in particular comes to mind that's really pushing the high-fat animal protein. And we do see, have a lot of friends in the natural medicine field in Australia and overseas, and a lot of the cancer patients that are on the ketosis diet are getting a lot of metastasis happening. So we're seeing that and we're talking about it. But to raise your fat, absolutely, the body needs fat, the brain needs fat, but the brain also needs a minimum of 70 grams of carbohydrate a day. And to go on a ketosis diet, some of these diets, on a juice, they're only saying juice green. And green's fantastic for its chlorophyll level, balancing the pH level is great. But things like beetroot and of course carrots and ginger for its glycosides, there's so many other things that we can be having. A lot of the diets out there are limited, and a lot of the people out there that are pushing these diets, a lot of them have got supplement companies as well. And I guess time is going to tell. The one thing to have a look at if you're unsure, and that's on YouTube. I should have had these down, we could have watched it, but I was a bit unorganised today. My day didn't go exactly planned as it was going to be here. But Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez on YouTube has got about a 10-minute video on the ketosis diet, and he speaks about Dr. Atkins, who was a well-known doctor, but he believed in the ketosis diet, and he opened up a cancer clinic, but it didn't stay open very long, 12 months, and he had to shut it. It didn't work real well. So have a look at, when we're talking about diet and different therapies, have a look at the Gerson therapy. There's another, I think it's the noni diet at the moment, which is mainly fruit. It's not too bad either. But really focus on the natural therapies out there, or people out there that have been out there for long periods of time. And when I say long periods of time, you know, minimum 2 or 3 decades. Yes, Neil?
Zane, you want to outline the China study for some people? Because that's
Yep.
the crucial thing that's
Absolutely, absolutely, okay. Okay, the China study was written by Dr. Colin Campbell, who at the present day, he is, I think, 87, 88. He is the longest nutritional research scientist in the world. Dr. Campbell grew up on a dairy farm, and he has got now, I believe, coming up to 50 years of proof of what's going on with the nutrients in the animal products and the milk products. But he has really dedicated his whole life. And the China study was something that he went to Asia to, I guess, just have a look at the diet with the Asian people. And what he found was that the wealthy Asian people were the ones with the liver cancer and high cancer rates. So then he started turning his path, I guess, to researching more and more what was feeding the cancer, what was breaking the immune system down, what was causing inflammation. And everything that he turned to, he'd come back to the dairy and meat, sadly, because, you know, we all like having a piece of meat occasionally. But the proof that he has brought forward is there's absolutely no doubt now that what's happening to the human cells with cancer, with nutrition. Any other questions, Neil, on that subject?
There was that, they went from the China study to the laboratory, and
Yes.
they found that above 12%
That's right.
protein
Yep.
developed cancer.
That's right. He could,
5%,
yeah, he could switch it on and off, and he's done that in many trials. And, you know, when we talk about, Neil's talked about percentages, it's incredible the small amount of difference that it makes from a little bit to maybe only a little bit more, the difference what it does to the cancer. And he actually has shown, and you can read some of his clinical trials online, switching on and off of the tumour growth and the production of cancer in the body. It's amazing to think that we can actually control it. And with metastasis happening, when we change the diet, we literally cease and really slow down the spread of cancer. And apart just from cancer, have many people that have recovered from different things over the years with diet. What I'm seeing a lot of, and it's coming to light, I guess, overseas quicker than here. We're always following, but we are catching up pretty quick, I believe. Some of the trials with cannabis, with recovering the brain in brain injury through accident or falls, or even surgery. And we're seeing that here in Australia as well. What cannabis is doing for the brain is amazing, protecting the brain. But combining the right diet so the body can process things, we can recover better. Everything has to be in a holistic state. So utilising everything that we have, nutritionally, herb-wise, our faith, our positivity, everything's got to come together. These days of going to the doctor and getting a pill and going home thinking I'm going to be okay, I've got to stop. We have to take our power back. I really, really believe that. And that's probably the biggest thing that I push to everybody out there, is that our power has been taken away and it's time to bring it back. We the people need to know that we have a right and we can make decisions for ourselves and our families. You know, God gave everything to us on this earth, whether it's a plant, whether it's a fruit or a vegetable, whatever it is, everything has a reason. And at the moment, you know, there's no need to be doing a lot of these trials that are going on in Australia. There's already enough proof out there from Israel and the States that cannabis is making a difference in so many different ways. And I really hope that everybody here today hops online and spreads the word about cannabis and the good that it's doing. If you're on Facebook and something good comes up and positive, please share it. The more people that are aware of it, and the more that they see that people are believing in it, and we can come together, and that's what we need to do in this country. We really need to come together. Let the government know this is what we want. There has to be other avenues. And to go out in our backyard and to be able to pick off half a dozen leaves off a cannabis tree and to juice for our children, absolutely life-changing in every way. So that's what we really want to see in the future. You know, it doesn't matter how much you eat, you're not going to get anything, you're not going to get stoned from a raw leaf, you know. It's only going to give you positive things in the body. So is there any more questions before I leave? Yes?
Quickly, minimum amount of raw cannabis in juice, what you would, for a normal sort of a base level?
Okay, so the minimal amount, I mean, you know, 1 leaf is only going to be good for you. It's not going to be as good as 5 leaves or 10 leaves. I've been taught by a couple of old herbalists, and their protocol 50 years ago was 50 leaves a day. And that's a fact. 50 leaves a day. Yeah. And he's a very old gentleman now, and he still believes in 50 leaves a day. Yes, darling. Cannabis plant for our own medicine, just for someone that's not sick. Fantastic, absolutely. There's so many things that it does for the human body. Yeah.
Are we allowed to? Is it legal?
No, it's not illegal. It's not legal. No, it's not legal. And hopefully in time we'll see change, and that's what we're fighting for. There's so many people out there that are still unaware how effective it is in so many different ways for the human body. And that's what I mean, if we can all come together and push it, social media as much as I can, email our local council members and say, you know, why isn't this happening? And open as many eyes as we can, because we really need as much support and help as we can. Because just in this country, with what's going on, you know, people need access themselves, and to be able to go out in the backyard is where we'd be happy to see happen, you know. Yes.
Is there a national page on Facebook?
Oh, absolutely. There's many. There's Cannabis Australia. There's the MCUA, I think, Michael.
Yeah, MCUA.
And we have our own hemp embassy page as well. Yeah. So that's it for today. Oh, yeah. Sorry, yes.
Definitely go to YouTube and type in nimbin, symposium, or medical cannabis.
Yeah.
And we've recorded every session for the last couple of years that we've been running it.
Yes, darling.
I just wanted to know, like, with cancer
all comes down to, I guess, what kind of cancer or disease you have. Yeah, but we could talk about that more after here if you like. Yeah. Any other questions? No? That's it? Okay. Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a fantastic day. And please support them.